Hi, my name is Pedro da Silva from the Vancouver School Board, and I'm here to talk to you about opening up secondary schools in Vancouver in September. As you may be aware, the Ministry has a 5-stage plan to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic. Over the last few months, we have been collecting data and feedback from over 6,500 parents, 2,300 students, and we've had councils and meetings with stakeholders. What we learned is that health and safety is the top priority of each group. As you can see from the list to my left here, there are other priorities. From a systems perspective, we have to prepare our schools to move in and out of each of those stages. It has to be fluid. And we want to make sure that we maximize instructional time in a safe way. I'm going to share the new model, but before I share the new model, it's important to take a look at what has existed in terms of secondary structures in Vancouver. Vancouver has operated on a linear model. That means that students take up to 8 courses at one time from September to June. In June, you received a letter that indicated that we were moving to a semestered model. And a semester model did 2 things. It reduced the amount of courses for our students and allowed teachers to prepare less courses. The hope was that this would create a better learning environment in September. On July 29th, the Ministry of Education introduced learning groups, or cohorts of no more than 120. And what this did is made us react and convert our semester model into a quarterly model. And a quarterly model means that you take up to 2 courses over 10 weeks of time. The challenge we have found going through the planning and doing all the modeling is that we have a variety of rich programs. And we needed to create a space that allowed for these programs at the school level to operate. So we created a new session that's called a flex session. And this could operate with linear courses, semester courses, or programs. This will give schools the opportunity to create and adapt to school needs. Let's take a closer look at a quarter. Students would have course 1 or course 2 or a course in flex time. This would exceed the learning group limits. So in order to allow for the flexibility and to maximize instructional time in a safe way, we are proposing a hybrid model. In our proposed model, students would attend every day. We would create 2 face-to-face sessions and 1 remote session. Now, of course, we don't want one course to be remote through the 10 weeks. So we would segment and create 2-week chunks where a student would come for that 1 course over 2 weeks, stay with that cohort of 15 students every day, possibly link with their flex class, and then do the other course remotely. After 2 weeks, we would ask that the remote class comes back and meets face-to-face every day for 2 weeks, and the face-to-face class flips and becomes remote. And this would happen over the 10-week period. What we found in our modeling is that we still may exceed learning groups even in this model. In order to stay well below the 120 learning group limits, we have decided and are proposing that we split our course into cohorts of 15, creating an extra face-to-face session. Now, in order to accommodate cleaning schedules, we are going to be moving flex into the middle of the day. And the other outcome of moving flex in the middle of the day is that student sessions will be joined. There will be no gap in the middle of the day. So a student would attend in session 1 and session 2, or they would attend in session 2 or session 3. This move would also help to have staggered entry times in our high schools. This will help with the public transit system. We do have many of our students that do take public transit. And of course, this would help with cleaning because it separates session 1 class from session 3's class. Some key takeaways with our proposed model. During stage 2, we may have up to 60 to 70% of our students in the building at one time. What our model does, it staggers them in a way that we can maximize instructional time in a safe way. We're going to have cohorts of 15 students that see each other for 2 weeks. This should allow for schools to use flex time to continue to provide the rich courses and experiences for your students. It's important to know that our district programs may still operate as they did in the past, as long as they are less than the 120 limit of the learning group. Finally, let's talk a little about equity and access. Last March, when the pandemic hit, it became very clear that we have many families who are at a deficit when it comes to the access to Wi-Fi or the access to computers. So what we're asking schools to do in September is we are asking them to create designated spaces where students can have access to Wi-Fi and to technology. This would also keep students in school if they're not attending a class in session. We're hopeful that this would at least try to bridge some of the gap. We will, as always, still try to reach out to those families that need assistance. And we are encouraged that hopefully in September, we will bridge that equity gap with our families. Let's leave you with some key points. Our proposed model builds on existing schedules and staffing. It prioritizes student choice. After much consultation, we really take health and safety seriously here at the school district. We would love to see our students in every day connected to other students in a safe way. And we wanted a model that can maximize instruction time and keep your children safe. We are hopeful that we will see your students in our schools in September.